Hello, 8th graders. Your new video. I'm going to combine sections 4 and 5 into one video because they really go together. So I just thought it would be easier. So this is for 1.4 and 1.5. And both of those sections are on the Pythagorean theorem. So first of all, before we talk about the Pythagorean theorem, you need to remember that you can only use this rule, this theorem, for right triangles. Those are triangles that have a right angle in them. So the legs of the right triangle would be the two shortest sides. So the two sides that make the right angle will always be the legs. The hypotenuse will always be the longest side, and that is the side across from the right angle. It never makes the right angle. Okay, the legs make the right angle. The hypotenuse is the longest side across from the right angle. The Pythagorean theorem, it's a formula is what it is. It's an equation that shows the relationship between the legs and the hypotenuse of a right triangle. And again, this only works for a right triangle. So don't try to use it for other types of triangles. It will not work. So a squared, here's the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And you've probably seen this before. So the a and the b will always be the legs. Okay, A and B are always the legs. So this one and this one, legs. And that didn't work at all. So the A and the B are the legs. And then the C is always the hypotenuse. It will always be that way. And remember that this is only used to find the missing side length of a side of a right triangle. Well, only works for right triangles. So if this is my triangle, and I have 24 feet over here, and 12 feet right here, this makes the right angle, which would make that C. So A and B are the legs right there. And so if I use this formula, to find the missing side length, again, when you use a formula, you always start by writing the formula. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so then I'm going to fill in a and b. Does it really matter if the 12 is the a or the b? Not really, as long as 12 and 24 are your a and your b, because they are the two shortest sides that make this right angle. And then my c, I'm just going to put c squared because I don't know what it is. So 12 squared is 144. 24 squared is 576. And that's going to equal c squared. And if I add those two things together, I get 720 equals c squared. But it didn't ask me what c was. It asked me, or excuse me, it didn't ask me what c squared was. It asked me what c is. So how do you undo what is the opposite of a squared? You square root it, which means I have to square root the other side. So the square root of 720 comes out to be 26.83. So we're going to say it's about 27 feet. Okay, so again, A and B right here, two shortest sides, they make up the right angle. So plug it in, 12 squared and 24 squared. Go ahead and square them both. Then when I get down here, I don't want the answer for c squared. I want the answer for c. So you have to square root it to get rid of it, which means you have to square root the other side. So your answer is about 27 feet. Is it always going to be the c that's missing? No, it will not. So I will show you an example of one where the a or the b is missing and show you the difference. So again, I need to start with the formula. If my pen would work, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so let's say this time I give you the a, which is 5, and I don't give you the b, but I do give you the c, which is 13. Okay, so now I have the a and I have the c, but I don't have the b. Well, I can still go ahead and square them. So 25 plus b squared equals 169. Now I need to get the b by itself. So how do I get rid of a 25? I'm going to minus 25. and that would be 144. So my b squared is 144. Again, your last step, you need to square root. So that would make your b 12. And I guess I didn't label it. Let's just say centimeters. Okay, so you're still plugging it into the same formula. A squared, b squared, c squared. You plug in your a where it goes. We don't know the b. You plug in your c. Go ahead and square it. Square it. Then you need to get the b squared by itself. So this is a positive 25, so you subtract to get rid of it. You're left with 144. Square root to get rid of the squared, and you're left with 12. And then here's one more, just kind of an extension of the same type of thing. So it says use the formula A equals 1/2 BH. 1/2 base times height. Okay, that is how you find the area of a right triangle with legs of A and B. And so if I tell you that the legs are 6 inches and 10 inches, you just go ahead and plug it in. Again, start by using the formula A equals BH. And I better have the half in there, or it's not going to work. So A equals 1/2 is part of the formula. My B is 10. And my base and my height are my legs. So base and height are 10 and 6. Okay, so 10 times 6 is 60. And then I just have to do half of that. So 30. And because area has to be squared, that's how I'm going to label it. So your answer is 30 square inches. So all I really did there was use the same concept. I have to figure out that the length, the base and height of a right triangle are going to be the legs. Because the hypotenuse is a diagonal, that's never going to be the base or the height. It's always the legs. So that's how I knew that A and B had to be my base and my height. So I just plugged it in and did the work. So 30 square inches. So bring that knowledge with you, and we will talk about it more next time I see you.